What's up, crypto community? Welcome to a new video. Now, something has been happening for the past 36 hours to 48 hours, and we within the drip community haven't seen this for a while now, for a few months actually. So we could potentially say that we have bottomed around the $9, $9.5 mark, and we're seeing a slow uptrend movement from there. Now, does this mean that the next cycle has already begun? I cannot give you an answer right now. I cannot guarantee that. However, lots of indicators and small elements here and there could point out to that direction. And in general, investors tend to time the bottom, even though we said many times don't do that, just average down. And they were all waiting for $5 drip, but unfortunately that didn't happen and most likely will never happen. So I'm just gonna touch base on few updates that are going around the community if people are not certain to what's up, what's been happening, and why could be the reason of this upward movement now, even though we are potentially a few weeks prior to the animal farm launch and more than a month before more utility comes in. So this one you don't want to miss. Let's go. Alright, so like I said, it appears that the drip token has bottomed. Now, I just opened the DEX in front of me just to show you that last price I saw before the pump was about 9 point something. So we're clearly $4 upwards since only I think about 36 hours prior to this. So what could this mean? I think if we break it down slowly, first things first, without going into speculative roadmaps and what's coming, I think what we can sum up and we can conclude is that investors understand the true value of the token that goes beyond the ROI DApp that supports it. Like, we talk a lot about the Faucet, how it pays out 1% a day, and all in all, mention how this is something that has been around for more than a year, and that's pretty nice. Yeah, but investors don't treat this as a miner where they drain liquidity up until it goes to zero and then move on. Drip operates in cycles where it goes up following what's coming, and then it goes down and it corrects when people take profits. And there's a certain point where it stops going down, i.e. the bottom, because people see that at this level of price action, it's no longer valuable and it doesn't make sense to even get rid of something as important as the token itself. And if investors see that, and big players, like for example, the city of Atlantis, that's a metaverse, with a U, that's a metaverse project that is building currently and is planning to use DRIP as its reserve fund mainly, so meaning putting capital into DRIP and then rewarding players through the dividends. Also, the Elephant Money token is also using DRIP as another source for their revenue. That shows you that big projects have the confidence that this protocol will keep on paying, meaning they are okay with going in full force. Timing their buys, sure, but that makes you understand that if big players as well as normal investors really see the value that goes beyond this, then why should you treat it any differently? And of course, you cannot time the bottom. It's always best to average down. That's what we've been saying. And even right now, you can use the token, right? If we go, and if I go to the animal farm, I didn't open the website, but quickly, like going to the animal farm itself, you can clearly see where I can use my token, right? The garden, that's one. I can turn it into a liquidity pool token, DRIP-USD. That's the first use. I park it there, I increase my liquidity, I earn daily dividends. And there's a video about the garden that's gonna come up. You can also use it in the farms, even though they're not open yet. And that's my next point, is that right now we're migrating towards the full functionality of the animal farm. And that will park our DRIP-USD tokens, right, inside the farm to earn pigs. That's another pool where you can generate money without having to sell the DRIP token. And it all ties up. Now, yes, I'm selling pigs, but also developers are planning to build more use cases for pigs. So it also remains held off and used for something else, let alone being the governance token and part of the PigPen BUSD dividend pool, etc. Meaning, the DRIP token right now has functions outside the Faucet, disregarding whatever is coming. And we're not so far away from the full Animal Farm relaunch, and people, you know, tend to take this as something that's gonna come up, and because of this, people will start buying DRIP cheap in order to park it in the farm, and that also creates some additional buying pressure. So the timeline between all of these events is very crucial, and no one can predict when the upward movement happens. You just gotta understand that we all saw that this was coming. So that's why buying bits and pieces is the best thing to do. And even on our pool on PancakeSwap, it started to reflect. You see the uptrend, it bottomed, and now boom, we're going back up. Now clearly on an hour-to-hour basis we might see some small red candles, but overall you can clearly see that we're going up. So that's today. That's our situation today. People realize that it's time to go. And I want to mention one more thing, and this is also very bullish because it's a novelty product that's gonna come up in August, and it's called the Scratchies. So the developer team are basically building something called, they call it a Scratchies, but it's basically a scratch lottery ticket type of protocol that will actually give buying pressure to DRIP, dogs and pigs, but the implementation is slightly different. Now I just want to look at this quick article because Lucky Block is perhaps the most prolific project in the gambling crypto industry, and these guys, they don't even have scratch lottery tickets. So it's a novelty product, it's something new, and I think they're also developing their Web3 integration with it. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And just to give you a small kind of glimpse of what could be the jackpot / whatever, how could this be helping the DRIP price action and its tax pool. You see how many tickets these guys are selling at $5? So I don't even want to compute this number, but that's about $125,000 almost. And that's, I think, as of a certain hour, not even per day. So yeah, that's no. Okay, so yeah, apologies for that. I think that means yesterday, meaning yesterday. Yeah, so per 24 hours. So and they're having $1 million jackpots. Now I'm not gonna assume that this is what's gonna happen, first things first, but at least we're gonna get a small share of this. So if you calculate it quickly on an Excel sheet and you assume that I'm having about 1,000 tickets sold, so that's minus 25x of what Lucky Block is doing, and for 0.1 BNB, because you're gonna purchase this in BNB, so assuming that will be the price of a ticket, could be less, could be more. So that's 100 BNB of playable ticket worth of playable tickets, and 20% of this amount will go and buy back DRIP from the market and send the DRIP to the tax vault. So just this as a startup will be giving us a daily 20 BNB buyback and drip, and most importantly filling up the tax pool that, if you remember my previous video, drained a bit. So in regards to the contract itself, if you go and check it now, because if you remember we were talking about minting tokens previously, so I'm gonna go right now and scour the contract itself. Let's see. So the mint stopped at about 60,000 tokens on top of the full million supply. And if we go check the holders, we're supposed to be, yeah, here it is. So now the pool has more than 57,000 tokens, the tax pool. So like I said, that was a shortcoming, and I think it's safe to say that we perhaps gonna overcome this right now. And just referring back to the Scratchy example, we're gonna be using Chainlink, as an oracle to provide off-chain data, because they also have a service called verifiable randomness elements, where you can use the random number generator function from Chainlink in basically gambling protocols like the Scratch tickets. And other than being bought with BNB to help buy back drip and add to the tax pool, there's also, if I'm not mistaken, gonna be a pigs and dogs version where you need to use the token itself to buy those tickets, and by doing so those tokens are gonna be burned and one person will win the jackpot at the end. So in essence, this adds an extra layer of utility to all three tokens on top of what we have, let alone whatever is coming up. And that's something I'm not gonna be discussing today, because again, it's all speculation until proven, and that's what we know today. So combine all of these factors together and you have the perfect recipe as to why we're seeing this upward movement. And this is just an added layer of data where you can see how investors are reacting. Previously, if you go back a few days ago, you can clearly see the charts of claims versus deposits, where claims were kinda ahead. As you can clearly see, we're always ahead actually, you see? So the claim line is the orange line versus deposit line, the green line. Up until almost 2 days ago, that's starting to change. And we're gonna also see this correlate with the number of accounts. And if we want to do a small TA on the number of accounts, even though it's not going to be very accurate, of course, but you can clearly see that our all-time low is at about 120 per day. And look at how much we shot up versus previous day. So the trend is changing overall. Same for the monthly new Faucet accounts. And I'm really excited to see what the number will be at the end of June. So, good times ahead. Keep your head straight and grasp everything that's going on in the full ecosystem, so you understand why is this happening. And of course, tread lightly. Don't go all in now, assuming that that's it. Maybe we're gonna have a slightly smaller drop before we head up high again. So just look closely, monitor your position, and try to enter if you already haven't entered. Even though one might argue that even if you enter now, a $2 drop, if that happens, is not gonna affect you if you keep compounding. So you really wanna know the nature of the product that you're in before making any financial decision. All right, so that's it from me today. I really hope you found this video useful. And I really hope that you at least gained something from this. And now you're gonna, go ahead and make the right decision when it comes to this protocol, because at the end of the day, it's your money and you're the one who has to decide what to do with it. So no one can advise you financially, but at least try and educate you a bit more than what you already have done. So yeah, I really hope I'm gonna see you in the next one. There will be more drip related content, let alone everything else, crypto and DeFi related, so stay tuned for that. And as always, take care of your finances and trade responsibly. This was Roy, R38 Crypto. Thanks for watching.